Hey guys, so I just got done making a video where I was talking about the history of racism, the history of biological racism, um, and I guess I'll make this two videos instead. So I ended where I was talking about how minimum wage laws were actually, sorry, sun's at a weird angle here, were actually created with the intention of favoring white workers over black workers. Um, and it was actually written into the laws themselves. Now, during the conversation today, um, one thing that Jacob Brunton pointed out, which is important, is that there are laws out there and systems that might have a disparate impact, but a disparate impact isn't itself a form of systemic racism. And I 100% agree with him on that. But one important area to point out is the history of minimum wage laws. Um, so minimum wage laws were started explicitly to favor white workers over black workers, and it was written into the law itself. There's a great conversation I had in my recent article, The Aftermath of Black Lives Matter, where Dr. Thomas Sowell and Dr. I think it was Walter E. Williams were discussing the history of minimum wage laws, particularly in America and in other Western countries. And it really amazes me because one important thing to think about is that these laws were originally created with the intention of harming black workers and favoring white workers over black workers. Now, today, those minimum wage laws might not explicitly say we're doing this to harm black people. Of course not. No politician today would get away with that. Um, but I would argue that that is the intention. When you have Democrat politicians coming along and saying, well, we won't have a $15 an hour minimum wage, and economists are coming along and saying, well, wait a minute, the people who that's hurting most are basically young black males who are poor. They're not able to get their, it makes it a lot harder to get your first job so that you can get your, so you can get some experience. And, they had some minimum wage laws, but it was basically repealed because of inflation. Um, and as a result of that, you had it where young black men might be flipping burgers in January, but come December, he's not going to be flipping burgers anymore. So he was able to get to work, learn a skill, learn how to learn things like getting to work on time, yes ma'am, yes sir, no ma'am, all that. Um, and he basically built his resume. But what minimum wage laws do, when you're talking about, okay, $15 an hour minimum wage, all that does is make it where employers aren't going to hire somebody whose skills are worth $15 an hour to them economically. And you know what? People can go on all day about, oh, a person's inherent value is infinite. Of course it is. But if I'm hiring you, I'm not hiring you because of your intrinsic worth as a human being. I'm hiring you because I'm trying to make money and I need your skills to help me make that money. Now, if I'm losing money on you because you lack the skill set, then I'm just not going to hire you. So that's why at one point in time, not that long ago, I think it was in the 1980s, a bunch of economists writing to the New York Times were saying, well, what's the best minimum wage that you should have? And their answer was zero, that there should be no minimum wage. If you want to have a good economy that helps people, the best thing you can do is, with regards to minimum wage, is just get rid of it. So there's a lot of other policies that I go into in my article about the aftermath of Black Lives Matter, where Democrats and leftists are coming in. They're fighting against school choice. They're fighting against charter schools. They're fighting against all of the things that have been proven to break the cycle of poverty in the black community. Now, as a result of that, this is probably not hurting all blacks. There are those like the Obama family who have money, they have wealth, they have influence. They don't have to worry about school choice. Obama was ending. There was a charter school program in Washington D.C. that um, it was either a charter school or a school choice program. There's a program in Washington D.C. Along these lines. Um, Barack Obama put an end to it, um, while sending his own kids to private school. So it's not to say that every black person is going to be hurt by every racist law, and that there won't be poor whites who are hurt by racist laws. But there's definitely a disparate impact, and there's definitely a classism. Seeing a lot of deer here today. Um, those things are not deers. Interesting. Anyway, um, so there's a lot that I think the left tries to pull, and well, like I said, I agree 100%. And I think Jacob Brunton's amazing. He says it really well. Um, while a disparate impact isn't necessarily a system of oppression against a particular group of people, the intention with a lot of these laws from the left is to keep black people down. It is to harm minorities. And the reason they want to harm minorities is because if there's nothing that there are very few things that the left hates more than a black man with a job or a business. And that's the reason they hate that, is because as black people in America become more independent, as they lose the need for welfare, as they lose the need for food stamps. And don't get me wrong, I've been on food stamps before. But as people lose the need for that, they lose the reason to vote Democrat. So you're always the people, and that's another area that the Democrat Party will really use and will probably always use. But if people have money, if they have the means to take care of themselves, if you have a free market that lets people go out and start a business, then there's very, very little that you don't have that desperation for the left to capitalize on. You don't have that desperation for the left to prey upon. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I'm still working on my eloquence on camera, but you know what, it is what it is, and I think that's just going to come through time. So if you are interested, check out my article. It's on medium.com. It is The Aftermath of Black Lives Matter by G.S. Muse. That's G.S.Muse, or rather G.S. M-U-S-C for my pen name. And also feel free to sign up for my newsletter. I am redoing the greenslug.com website. Again, slug is spelled with 2 my newsletter. Check out. And I really hope you guys have enjoyed my content. And by the way, when this new video from For the New Christian Intellectual is up, go watch it. Now, I know some people might say, well, Greg, did you disagree with Jacob Brunton here? I'm like, no, I actually didn't. I 100% agree with him about disparities don't prove systemic racism. However, there are laws out there that, while they might not explicitly say it, are intended to create a disparate impact. So we hear about the systemic racism and systemic oppression in the United States. It still very much exists, and it comes from where it's always come from, and that's from the left. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is Greg, out.